When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
You know, when politicians start talking about all the things they're going to do on day one, it always makes me a little cautious. I've been around long enough to know that day one promises are often more about getting folks excited than about what can actually be done right out of the gate.
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
Kamala Harris talks about an opportunity economy, and that sounds good on paper, especially when she mentions things like the child tax credit and affordable housing. But let's not forget, she's been in office for 3.5 years. So why haven't these issues been addressed already? It's one thing to make plans and another to follow through, especially when you've had the time to do it.
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
Then there's the energy policy flip-flop. Back in the day, she wanted to ban fracking, and now she's all about not banning it. It's a smart move politically, sure, but it does make you wonder about the consistency of her values. Changing your stance based on new data is one thing, but when it's tied to an election campaign, it can feel like just another way to win votes.
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced.
And on immigration, it's clear there's been some movement, but why did it take so long to address the issues at the border? Politics often means waiting until the last minute to make big changes, and that's frustrating for the folks who've been struggling with these problems for years.
As the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar's not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
I just want...
Tim Walz seems like a decent guy, talking about family and service, but when you've got to spend time clarifying past statements and defending your record, it makes you wonder why these things weren't clear from the start. Transparency is key in leadership, and the fact that he's had to backtrack on certain points doesn't inspire the greatest confidence.
You know, I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment.
At the end of the day, politics is a game of promises, and the truth is often in the results. Harris and Walz have a lot of ideas that sound good, but the question is, can they deliver? It's easy to talk about bringing people together and lifting folks up, But in a divided country, that's a tall order. I'll believe it when I see it.